Floor is yours, Maggie. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, doctors. Hello, everyone. I'm Liu Riyang Maggie, and I'm a master student of creative industry design at the National Cheng University in Taiwan. And my research topic is exploring the role of readiness in aesthetic experience, cross-modality interactions. Okay, and here's the table of contents I'm going to present today. Okay, and first I want to start my presentation with this question. When does a wonderful experience begin? And the photo here is Disneyland. And we all know that the one major feature of Disneyland is they are committed to create a wonderful experience. So instead of you actually visiting the park, Disney claims that the magic starts from the moment when you purchase ticket, which means before you arrive, Disney will try their best to remove all the problems you may face and also build out your expectations by their experience design. Okay, so when it comes to experience, we should talk about what happens to experience economy right now. From an investigations by Vice Media, we can see that through the COVID-19, we are entering a new era that people now understand the extreme importance of being together and wishing to return to the physical world. And also, since the staticalizations of our society, it kind of blurs the boundary of art and our daily life, which makes general people somehow has ability to appreciate a sense of beauty and bring it into our everyday lives. So when people experiencing, they tend to seek a sensory playground, which can give them some sensory satisfaction, like a beauty designed environment and experiencing something with all five senses, something like that. And according to the investigations, we can say that now it's a good time for brands and companies to value experience again. However, how to create an optimal experience? Lots of scholars and practitioners keep digging into the main experience itself, but maybe we should just step back and ask, does people ready to experience or not? Make it more specific. If we go to a restaurant, there will be an appetizer to stimulate your appetite before the main dish, and there are seasoning for you to enhance the flavor. Or when you are in a concert, in the beginning, there will be warm-up performers to cheer you up. And all the lights, the noise, the whole atmosphere is why you enjoy the live concert so much. So I categorize them into priming and contextualizations. And maybe they are not the main characters in an experience, but you can admit that they play an important role. So according to this, I propose a concept called readiness. Then what is readiness? You can see readiness as a supporting role, represent the state of people's preparations for experience. Also, when people are ready, then they will gain optimal experience. And according to a study conducted by Microsoft, our attention span is shrinking, which even lower than goldfish in 2020. And it caused something interesting in movie industry, like there's a saying that even the movie trailers have trailers now. So nowadays, movie producers or content creators need to catch people's attention at very first few seconds. Otherwise, they will just people will just go away. So, which means readiness is increasingly important, especially in these generations. So I explore the concept with two factors I just mentioned before, and they are acting in three different levels. Okay, and to show you that readiness is actually in our everyday lives, there are some examples. For the perceptual levels, there are some examples from the book Sense Hacking. And it said that we will feel the dishes are better if we use heavier plates and tablewares. However, Can you imagine that? How about having a fancy dinner with these red plastic balls? It's a disaster, right? And for the cognitive level, means that you are doing something to tell your brain that be ready to do the following things. For example, like clocking, its action somehow tells your brain that now is the time to walk. And also the entryway in your house allow you to take your coat off, take your shoes off. It somehow makes you switch the walking mode to the relaxing mode. Okay, and finally for motivational level, it's different from the rest of two. It's an urge that you can deal it with your rational or your cognitions. And the intrinsic motivation, like hungry, it will make your food taste more delicious if you are hungry. And for the extrinsic one, like social comparison, it is that your cognition keeps telling you that to embrace your individuality, but you just can't help to compare yourself with others. So that's one reason why the medicine for weight loss or growing tall are so popular right now. Okay, and for my research motivations, it is because my working experience. When I work as a blogger in cosmetic industry, I have to update all the information of new released product from time to time. And gradually, I found out the efficacy and the compositions of products are like an old wine in a new bottle. There's nothing new or innovative, but the new products are still nonstop coming out. So I'm wondering why. And there are some research tells me the answer. It's a consumer's reaction to a cosmetic product isn't only based on its efficacy, but on its appearance, skin feel, and smell. And which is more about 5 cents than its efficacy, right? And another research tries to test the smell of shampoo, also has similar result. And however, even those research are slightly touch the concept of readiness, it still not be pointed out clearly. So I try to sort out the different form of readiness in different stage of customers' experience as a customer journey map. When people experiencing beauty products, then there will be different readiness in each different stage. Okay, and overall, we receive every outside stimulus through our 5 cents, no matter what, right? So to create a better experience, we should more emphasize on the cooperation between senses, which is cross-modality effect. Each separate channels integrate into a holistic experience. And that's why I introduced cross-modality effect as a background in this research to explain and verify the effect of readiness in aesthetic experience. Okay, and for the literature review, I start from the experience economy and the growing aestheticalization of society of customers to show the importance of aesthetic experience here. Okay, and then look into aesthetic experience. Here is a framework to propose the concept of readiness in aesthetic experience. And we can see readiness as a conditions of where interactions between objective and subjective aesthetics, and then to enhance processing fluency, and finally, gain aesthetic pleasure. Okay, and to detail the first part of aesthetic experience framework, like you can see that in the upper right corner of the slide. And I review some theories of beauty. And mainly, there are 3 perspectives. First is objectivist, and they are more care about the form of beauty, like balance, proportion, and symmetry. And then is subjectivist. They believe that the beauty is in the eye of beholders. However, the research adopt the interactionist perspective. Because a sense of beauty needs the interactions of similar properties and the perceiver's cognitive, which is the same meaning as the interaction between objective and subjective beauty. Okay. And so if the interaction between these two goes well, then the processing in brain will be fluently. And finally, people can feel aesthetic pleasure. However, how to make interaction better than to contribute the processing fluency? I think readiness is the key in this research. Then let's talk about more detail of readiness. Okay, we regard readiness as a condition of well interactions, and there are two main factors I categorize from literature review, which is priming and contextualize. And priming refers to a previous stimulus, which would activate the people's sensitive to particular stimulus or activate mindset to cognitive processing. And the contextualize refers to the context, which would sensitize people to a particular stimulus or empower sense making by assigning meaning to the concept of scenario. Just like I mentioned before, priming just like the appetizer, the warm-up performance, and the contextualize just like seasoning and the atmosphere in a concert. Okay, and there are some other moderators which will also influence readiness. For example, like adaptation, culture, and attention shift. And the last part of literature review, it is cross-modality effect to manipulate readiness on aesthetic experience. And because visual perception is the most dominant sense in aesthetic experience, so I review cross-modality effect by mainly visual sense, and it comes with 4 other senses. Okay, and this is my conceptual framework according to my literature map. And I also point out the position of my research objective and questions here. So for my research objective, that could be seen as 3 stages of my research goal. First, I want to identify the role of readiness in experiencing aesthetic pleasure, and then to explore how readiness work and enhance better aesthetic experience. Finally, hope this research can provide a guideline for how to increase aesthetic pleasure through readiness. And for conclusion by far, I conclude my research into 3 points. First, from literature and lots of examples in different fields, the concept of readiness has been clarified. And second, the main factors which are priming and contextualize, and some other relevant moderators of readiness have been organized from literature reviews. Also, the different levels they act, which are perceptual, cognitive, and motivational. And last, the mechanism of how to operationalize readiness has been proposed. According to 2 papers below, which contribute lots of inspirations to my research, it shows a great explanations of how readiness works in brains or psychologically. Okay, and for future research, some interviews will be conducted since it is a relatively new concept. So first, I want to gather some opinion and insights from experts, whether they are from the field of interaction design or aesthetic experience or marketing in both academic and practical side. And after generating some insight and indicators by interviews, an experiment will be designed to verify this phenomenon. And finally, a guideline will be proposed according to the analysis and finding of interviews and experiments to enhance the pleasure of aesthetic experience through readiness. Okay, and there is all for my presentation today. And it seems like there's no time left. So if you have any further questions, welcome to contact me to my email here. Okay, thank you for your listening.